There's never been a better time to become a content creator. The success of TikTok and Instagram Reels cannot be ignored. And now, YouTube just announced that people will be able to monetize Shorts right here on the platform. And I personally think this is going to be the beginning of the end for TikTok, because people will actually start making real money for their hard work instead of just pennies like TikTok pays. TikTok does not pay their creators very well. So with this new wave of short form content creators coming on board, you really should set yourself apart from the others, right? Well, one of the best ways to do that is to invest in a smartphone gimbal. And right now, one of the best options on the market is the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. Hi everyone, Russ here. Welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to talk about the Osmo Mobile 6. Now I know I'm a little bit behind on this content because this was released over a month ago, and there are already a ton of reviews and tutorials out about it already, but not one of them talks about the group of people that I think this thing is really a game changer for. And as you already know from the title, I think it's a perfect option for short form content creators.
And it's not only because of all the different features that go along with the Osmo Mobile 6 and the Mimo app, you know, like slow motion, hyperlapse, time lapse, regular video, photos, spin shot. Like there's so many creative things that you can do with it. But I think for social media content creators, having the ability to stabilize your footage is awesome. So right now I'm just holding my phone in my hand, and you can see it kind of shakes around a little bit. It's not too bad, but let me show you what happens. Go ahead and just magnetically attach it to the Osmo Mobile 6. Recenters, and there we go. Look at the stabilized footage, you guys. Tell me this doesn't look better. So when you're posting on social media, I think this is going to look more impressive than just holding your phone in your hand and shaking all over the place.
Before we dive in, here's a comment from my last video. This one's from Eddie Nunez, and he says, "Cruise control is money." Great video, Russ. Thanks, Eddie. So let's talk about some of the reasons that I think the Osmo Mobile 6 is a great choice for social media creators. Now, first of all, the instant on feature. When you open the gimbal is great. I think it's so awesome. You just open it up like that, it turns on, and it's ready to go in like 2 seconds. And then also, if you have an iPhone, you can even enable the quick launch in the Mimo app. And when you put your phone on here and turn it on, the Mimo app pops up instantly, and you can start creating content in under 10 seconds. Now, the next thing that I really like about this is this magnetic gimbal clamp. Now, we've seen this before in the OM4 and the OM5, but this one is a little bit bigger. These are a little bit wider. So what that means is you can now leave your phone case on when you put this on the Osmo Mobile 6. And I personally love this because I think it was such a pain in the butt to have to take the phone case off like you did in the previous two versions. And to me, this instant on feature and the magnetic clamp attachment makes it really quick to use. But when you have to take off the phone case, that kind of eliminates the convenience that these other two features bring to the device, right? So let's take a look at all the buttons and the controls on the Osmo Mobile 6. So the first thing that I want to point out is this scroll wheel on the left-hand side of the screen. And this scroll wheel has two purposes. First of all, it's a zoom control wheel. So you can turn this and you can gradually increase or decrease your zoom, and that's really nice. And then if you tap on it, then that flips it into focus mode, so you can use the scroll wheel to change your focus. Now, 90% of the time you're going to use this as a zoom wheel, but if you ever want to pull focus or you want to choose a single subject to focus on, you do have the ability to do that with this wheel. And you can do it very smoothly, and it's a lot more convenient than using your phone screen. Next, the status screen right here. It's a really nice addition because now you can see the battery life, you can see the connection status, and then you can see which of the 4 modes that the gimbal is in at a glance. You just look down and say, oh, I'm in follow me mode. I need to switch to FPV. You know, you tap this M button right here next to it. This M button is how you switch between different stabilization modes. So there's follow mode, there's tilt lock, there's FPV, and then finally there's the spin shot mode.
Okay, so follow me mode is the mode that you're going to be using most of the time when you're using a smartphone gimbal. And basically what that does is the camera or your phone follows the movement of your gimbal. So if you turn to the right, it's going to slowly pan to the right. If you pan to the left, it's going to pan to the left, and so on. So basically, however you move the gimbal, that's where the camera is going to move. Go ahead and tap the M button, and what that's going to do, it's going to put it into tilt lock mode. So what that's going to do, it's going to lock the tilt angle. So basically, when I move the gimbal, okay, it's going to hold that phone in almost the exact position that you locked it in at. But if you go too far, you can see it's going to tilt a little bit. But what it does, basically, the idea behind the tilt lock is to keep that position from going up and down. So when you rotate to the left or to the right, there's no up and down movement. So there's a little bit of leeway there. So if you happen to move the gimbal a little bit, it's not going to change that tilt angle of your phone. Next is the FPV mode. So we're going to tap the M button, and this is FPV mode. And this is just going to follow however you move the gimbal. It's going to go into that position. So you can see there, as I rotate the gimbal, it rotates as I go down and up. So basically think of it as like an FPV drone. You know, the camera is not on a gimbal. It basically just stays still. And however you move the drone, that's where the camera is going to go. Same thing with FPV mode. Finally, the last one is spin shot. And this is for really creative stuff. Tap the M button. So right now we're in spin shot. And I'll put an example up here on the screen of what it looks like. But what you're going to do is you're going to use the control wheel. And then as you move forward, or you don't even have to move forward, you can just go ahead and spin. Okay, spin it just like that, and that's going to give you a spin effect on your footage. Looks pretty cool. Now, a lot of people do wonder, is this going to give me a 360-degree rotation? No, it does not. It's a 270 degree, so you can't go all the way around, but you can still get some pretty cool looking footage with that. So that's the stabilization modes on the Osmo Mobile 6.
Next, this right here is the control stick, which is used to move the gimbal into your desired position. And I really like this improvement over the OM5. It's a lot more tactile, and it's just seems more professional and like a real control stick. If you look at the OM5, you know, it was just this little flat disc right here, and it just didn't feel good, and you weren't quite sure if you had it in the right position just because of, you know, how it was shaped and how it's so close to the device, where this one sticks out a little bit more. I think it just feels better. It just feels more natural with this. So then next to that is the record and shutter button. Obviously, if you tap this, this is going to start a recording or it's going to take a photo. And then below that is the camera selector button.
So right here is your selector button. If you tap this just one time, that's going to switch your camera view from the front camera to the rear camera and vice versa. If you tap the selector button twice, tap, tap, that's going to change the orientation of your phone. So we can go from portrait mode into landscape mode just like that. And then finally, if you tap it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, that's going to switch from photo to video mode and then back. Photo to video and video to photo, just like that. Now you can also set this up to bring up the quick menu, and that can be useful for if you want to, you know, get into the menu quickly. You just tap it 3 times. That brings up the quick menu. That can be really convenient.
So there is some customizability there. On the front of the gimbal is the trigger button right here, a very familiar trigger button. Tapping it once enables the active track feature, which I'll talk about here in just a few minutes. Tapping the trigger 2 times resets the gimbal to the center position. So if you've been using the gimbal and it's off to the left too far, off to the right, you want to get it right back to the center, you just double tap that trigger finger. And then finally, if you hold the trigger down, that's going to lock your phone into position. So no matter how you move the gimbal, that phone's going to stay rock steady. The built-in selfie stick is convenient, and I think it's really useful for vloggers because it provides a wider angle of view without having to like extend your arm out so far to get that nice wide angle. You don't have to do that anymore. You just extend the selfie stick. You can also adjust it. You know, right here, you can tilt it up and down a little bit. So that makes it, you know, just a little more functional. So in case you want to switch up your angle a little bit, you can do that. So that is pretty nice. I think the stick is fun, and it's useful for some situations. You know, another thing that people like to use it for is underslung shots, like where you extend it and then you can hold it down low to the ground and get people walking, or get a nice shot of the grass or whatever from a low angle, or the snow in my situation. But just being able to capture that underslung, that's a really nice creative look. So the selfie stick really allows you to get some creative shots. I don't think it's something that you're going to use on a regular basis, but it's nice to have if you want to do some of those creative things. Now, one of the features that makes the Osmo Mobile 6 stand above the other phone gimbals in the market today, in my opinion, is the Active Track 5.0.
So let's talk about Active Track real quick. Active Track 5.0 is the best Active Track that DJI has. It's the latest. It's supposed to be the latest and the greatest. And what it does is you can set it to track a subject. Most of the time that subject is going to be you. You know, if you're vlogging with it or whatever, but sometimes you might be filming somebody or even your pet. It actually keeps track of your pet. It does a pretty good job. I have a small dog, and even Active Track 4.0 worked really well on my small dog. But I'm going to go ahead and enable Active Track. I'm just going to pull the trigger one time, and there we go. So now it's locked onto me. You can see the green box there. And then basically no matter how I move, the gimbal is going to follow me. So one thing I wanted to test out here, I want to see how far away I can get and have it keep track of me. I've never actually done this before to see how far that Active Track reaches. Now I have an iPhone 11 Pro Max, so it's an older phone. I don't know if that's going to make any difference or not, but I can't even tell. Let's see here. If I turn, yep, looks like it's still following me. So let's go ahead, let's go back a little bit further. Still turning. So, I mean, look at how far away I am, and it still is tracking me from here. And I'm probably 25 yards away. Wow. It is still tracking me from this far. That is crazy, you guys. Look at this. I'm at least 30 yards away, so very, very good as far as keeping locked on to whatever your subject is. It's also pretty good for if you go behind a tree or something like that. It's going to keep track of you. Let's just try it right here as a tree. I'm going to walk through the snow, I guess. That's okay. So and then you go behind the tree and it'll pick you back up if you get around to the other side. So pretty good. Look at that. All right. Oh man, good thing I'm used to winter already, right? So anyway, that's the Active Track. It works super, super well, and especially on a face. You know, like I said, you can track other things as well, but once it gets locked onto a face, it is flawless.
It's a great feature for people that may not be used to using a gimbal because it really helps to keep that subject in the frame. And it's also very useful for the group that I think really is going to benefit from the use of a phone gimbal overall, and that's the social media content creator group. You guys, like it or not, vertical format content is here to stay, and it's getting even bigger because, like I mentioned, the greatest monetization platform is going to really start pushing content that primarily uses a smartphone. Now, like I mentioned, the DJI Mimo app is what I recommend using just because it's pretty simple to adjust your settings and your camera modes, and it's pretty intuitive for new users to learn. And then there's also some automatic modes on there that can inspire you to make something creative. All you have to do is just click on that little red flapper with a star on it up in the upper left-hand corner, and that's going to bring up your shots guide. And then it allows you to pick a theme. You know, this situation looks similar to what you want to shoot, and you pick that theme, and then what it's going to do, it's going to walk you through each shot that you have to take. It tells you how long to record it, and then you just put it all together. It does everything for you. It constructs a really fun video for you that you can share on social media, and it removes the need for you to have to do any editing. Now, every product has some opportunities for improvement, right? And the Osmo Mobile 6 is no exception. One thing that I don't really like on this is I've noticed if I'm using my left hand sometimes, I don't do it a whole lot, but if I'm using my left hand and I need to tap on that trigger or pull the trigger for some reason, my index finger rubs on that scroll wheel right here because the trigger is up so high, you have to kind of reach up. And what I found happened a couple times is when I hit that zoom wheel, it messes up my zoom. And so I just have to remember to use my right hand and use my left hand if I need to adjust the zoom or whatever. So it's not a big deal when you're using your right hand, but if someone's left-handed and they tend to use their left hand for everything, that's going to be a problem. You're going to be bumping that wheel all the time. And then the other thing is the tilt angle on the Osmo Mobile 6 still is really short. Hopefully, in the next version of this, if they bring out another version, hopefully they can increase the tilt angle. I'm not sure why they didn't change that because I know a lot of people were complaining about that. So Not a deal breaker, but I think it's something that should have been addressed. So I think for someone whose content is focused on creating with a phone, you have to have a gimbal stabilizer to set yourself apart. And for less than $160, the Osmo Mobile 6 is a worthy investment that could potentially pay off with your first viral video. Click on the link in the video description to learn more about the Osmo Mobile 6 or to purchase one to level up your short form content. Comment below, do you think there's still a place for smartphone gimbals? And if so, what should they be used for? And then also, if you think they should die, let me know that as well. Hit the like button if you received any valuable information today, and if you deeply appreciate the work that I put into these videos for you, you can always click on that super thanks heart right down here. I do appreciate your consideration for that. Thanks for watching the video today, everyone. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.